Welcome to the kingdom. I'm Chris, and this is Good Enough Gaming. Howdy folks, and welcome to this painting video where I'm going to be painting a blue horror. I got a commission of a whole bunch of Tzeentchy things, that's why you've been seeing a lot of videos about them. And so today it's the blue horrors. I primed them gray, just like I did with the Acolyte, because it allows the colors to be nice and strong while at the same time helping out with the shading, because I'm never good when I paint over white. Starting with a nice, bold, fairly bright blue. You don't want something super bright like a baby blue or a sky blue, but a very, very bold blue to start off with. And just get a nice fat brush and cover the whole person. Don't worry if you get over the flames or his tongue or whatever it is. Right now, this is the primary color of the model. And so the job is to get a nice, even coat quickly. You're probably going to have to do a second one. That's why you can be pretty fast with it, because anything you missed or painted a little too thin, you'll get with the second coat. I've always liked the ideas of these little guys. You kill the pink horrors, they split into blue. You kill the blue, they split into brimstone. You know, it's like anyone who's ever had ants in their house or apartment. No matter how many you get rid of, there's just more of them. For the shade, I was toying with the idea of whether to do, a targeted shade, painting deliberately in the recesses, but looking at how small this model is and how many recesses there are, I decided it would have been easier just to give the guy a bath. But I'm going to use a blue shade rather than black. I still want to maintain that blue color. But this will create a nice, dark, basic skin color. And when we start adding the highlights, you will see it really, really pop and make this guy look like a very bright creature. Okay, once we've given time for the wash to dry, now we're going to get some Calgar blue or a very bright blue, and we're going to paint the same way that we paint flesh on other models, even if they just have a regular human-like skin tone. It's almost like a zenithal highlight. Look straight down, hit the top parts, hit the muscles, stay away from the recesses, make sure there's an area where you can still see that dark, dark blue underneath. But this blue is going to be the primary color of the skin. So those previous layers we were doing with the blue and the wash were simply to create shade. Now we're painting it more the color that we want the whole thing to actually be. You'll want to do 2 coats with this lighter blue, and with the second coat, don't quite cover the exact area of the first coat, and as with flesh tones, it will create a nice soft transition from the dark to the light and give it a really good, nice 3D blending effect. For the final skin highlight, I'm using Lothern blue and just hitting edges of muscles, very tops of those like tendrils that seem to be coming off his shoulders and down his back. We're not trying to lighten the skin tone, we're trying to simply show where light will reflect off, almost giving his skin not quite a greasy effect, but it's smooth, and so the light's going to reflect on it and make it a little bit shinier here. Okay, with the skin all finished, we're going to use my tried and true method of easy but still good looking flames. Grab one of the brightest whites you have. Whatever it is, doesn't matter how thick it is, paint enough layers that you can coat it, but wherever you want flame, give it a super bright white. Once that white is dry, grab yourself a yellow shade like Cassandra Yellow, or a really, really thin down layer paint or something, whatever you want it to be. A contrast or a speed paint would work great here. And then paint over the white. Allow the white to give you your brightness, and then allow the paint to take care of the recesses and the shadow. I've tried all kinds of different ways to paint flames, and they always come out looking awful. I'm just not that good of a painter. So when I found out that painting it this way gave me good looking flames that were really quick to do, unless I'm painting some kind of really fancy centerpiece, this is how I'm going to do all my flames. Now, believe it or not, from here on it's just little details. In fact, once we paint the tongue here, you could put this guy on the tabletop and he would definitely be good enough. So grab yourself a red, a bright purple, something that you want the tongue. I like to use Screamer Pink because I think it matches really well without you know, stealing the highlight from the flame there. But a couple layers to cover up the tongue and you're good to go. Next detail is the gold. He's got some bracelets on those multiple arms that he's got there. At least he doesn't have too many. When you paint some of those horrors that have like 4 and 5 arms, this can get to be quite a chore. But just 1 or 2 layers. Like I said in previous videos, I really like Retributor armor. It's a nice thick pigment. It usually covers most other paint surfaces with just 1 coat. Unless it's a really, really strong color, you might need a second. But touch up those bracelets, and he's almost finished. Now I had to zoom in here because while I was painting I leaned too far forward to get a good look at the teeth, and I stuck my head in front of the camera. So we're zooming in so that you just see the guy instead of my bald head. You're welcome. Grab your favorite color of off-white, beige, bone, anything like that to do the teeth. It just depends how much attention you want to draw to them. You want them to be super bright teeth or a little bit more monstrous teeth. I go with usually a Xandri dust, and if I were so inclined, you would highlight that with like Screaming Skull or something, and it'll give it a nice ivory look on the teeth. For the eyes, we're going to do the same trick as with the flames. Get a very tiny brush, a very, very wet, flowing but not quite runny white, and just touch those eyeballs. Get enough paint on them, and then we'll go back over it with the yellow, or you could use whatever color you want. For these guys, I want the eyes to glow yellow to match the flames. I'm telling you, that flame trick, I don't know if it's a trick, but the way I do flames has started to open my eyes to the possibilities of contrast, speed paint, the whole slap chop method. I might have to paint some more that way. So while I was looking at it, I noticed it still needed a little something. The tongue needs some kind of highlight, otherwise it looks too dull. So grab a highlight, a pink or a lighter flesh tone, based on whatever color your tongue is. Well, not your tongue, but you know, the tongue of the model. And just paint the area that's dripping out of his mouth. And that way it'll look nice, because the part still in his mouth will have a bit of shadow to it. I also noticed as I was finishing up the tongue that I forgot to do the claws or the talons on his feet. So use the exact same paint that you used for the teeth, because they're basically going to be the same kind of look to them. Paint the toenails there, and that's all done. It's not going to win you a golden demon, but I'd say that's good enough. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Maybe pass it on to a friend who's painting something like this, and I'll see you on the next one.